In 1987, audiences would witness one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's most iconic movies with the release of Predator, a film that gave us an incredible new monster designed by Stan Winston with even a little help from Alien's James Cameron on the look. Still, 1990 gave us Predator 2, a film that is loved by some but also hated by others who felt like it was just too much of a departure from what had come before. Now, the third film in the main series, Predators, which is obviously a play on the naming of Alien and Aliens, features a hunting party of the creatures on a brand new planet that is set up as the monster's own personal game preserve, where they drop down people and other aliens of notable worth to be hunted down and carved up into trophies in the film. The movie is essentially what you can call Predator 3, but it was preceded by two poorly received crossover films where the title creature fought against the alien species. Now, only 3 years after the second of those movies, Predators didn't really get a lot of attention at the box office, and instead, it was met with kind of mixed reviews and a very underwhelming response from most of the general public. I myself not really being that into the movie after I saw it in theaters, and even debating on whether or not it was better than Predator 2, which at the time I had started to notice some major flaws in and criticize greatly. With that being said, this film has been out now for well over a decade, and in the 12 years we've had since its release, upon rewatch, I actually believe it to be an overlooked chapter in a movie series that is filled with a lot of disappointment. And I'd even go as far to say that this may be the most underrated Predator sequel ever made. 2010, Predators comes out. What was your excitement level, Tony?
I was cautiously optimistic.
Oh,
Clayton.
okay.
I had been tricked twice before.
Oh, with the Alien versus Predator stuff.
Yeah. So, I was in a, as many people, I was in a very abusive relationship with aliens and predators.
Well, this was actually pretty close after that second one, which was truly horrible.
Yes, and I was like, like abusive relationships, like, hey guys, Alien and Predator, they can change. I can fix Alien versus Predator. They can change. I know it.
I completely forgot that the same year that game came out, the Alien versus Predator game.
Yes.
Which apparently you don't like.
I don't like.
But anyways, did you catch on to the leaked stuff before the movie came out of like the new Predator face and stuff?
I did not. I didn't really follow the production for this that much because I was just like,
I just knew another one.
I'm just like, is this going to be 3 strikes? Is it going to screw up again? And then I saw that it was Robert Rodriguez producing.
Which I've done a whole video on. He was going to do this movie in 1996.
Oh, yeah. He's been linked to Predator. They wanted him early on. And
I don't blame them, though. Back then,
I would have loved a 90s Robert Rodriguez Predator. That would have been awesome.
Although the script that they adapted this from was even more crazy than Predator 2 in areas.
I would have liked more crazy.
But it's like the humans sell people to the predators in exchange for their predator technology.
No, I like that. That's
okay.
Cool.
All right.
That's
but
cool.
Like,
no, that's fun.
They did bring back Dutch in the original version of this film that they were going to make, and he was like going to fight. Like, it was a cool idea, but
I like the idea of it. And then it was directed by Nimrod Antal.
Yeah,
I feel bad saying Nimrod.
I do too.
I feel like that's like an insult. I know it's like I forget what the
it comes from the Bible, right? That was the first Nimrod.
Yeah,
God was like, "Thou shalt not be Nimrod."
Yeah, but I forget like where the name, like what country it's popular.
I don't know.
But I think I saw his movie No Vacancy. I don't really remember it too much.
Did he do Pathfinder? He did something that a lot of people saw.
So I, like I said, cautiously optimistic. I didn't really follow the production that close because I was kind of burnt out.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I followed the last 2 Alien versus Predators and was let down by them. So I was just like, I'll see it when it comes out. And actually, it's one of the earliest in the very first incarnation of Hack the Movies. It was probably like the 3rd or 4th video.
Oh, cool.
Movie we reviewed.
Cool.
Back when I reviewed things in a parking lot with friends. And I remember we saw it and we really, really enjoyed it. We were like, wow, this is a lot of fun. But even back then and today, I'm like, I feel like it played things too safe.
It absolutely did. I will say one thing. When I first saw the movie, I was debating on whether or not it was better than Predator 2. And this was the first time I was ever truly like questioning Predator 2's quality. Because I grew up thinking Predator 2 was great. And
you grew up right.
I think the middle part of Predator 2
Yeah.
is the best Predator movie. The beginning and end, I think, are the silly stuff, but I think the best Predator movie from start to finish is the original. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, the first one's obviously the best, but I really do love Predator 2.
Predator 2 is great.
And there's an old Cinemassacre video I was on where we did movies we changed our mind about, and I did Predator 2.
I remember you talking about
I remember
that.
the first time I watched it, I saw it like years later.
It has a bad reputation for film critics, but I remember, for fans of this stuff,
and
they
being
like it.
Being like an 8-year-old, I was in that same boat where I'm like, where's Arnold? Who are all these people? This is weird.
The first thing I saw of it was probably in 1996 on TV.
Yeah.
You know how when you watch something and you don't know what it's from until like later on?
Yes.
So I knew the first Predator front and back growing up, and it took a while to see Predator 2, but like I had seen the part where he's in the bathroom with the blue stuff and like roars.
Yeah.
And then when I watched Predator 2, like I was probably around 8, I was like, oh, that's what that's from. But anyways, the thing about Predators was I was debating on whether or not it was better than Predator 2.
Yeah.
Because there was stuff in the movie that I thought was really cool, like you said, and really fun. Yeah. But I could not wrap my mind around the fact that a guy would take his shirt off and say, "Come get me, I'm here, kill me," in the same universe as Arnold did.
Yeah.
It's so spot on. This was probably the first example of like a soft reboot where it's kind of it's not a remake, but like in a similar way, like similar things happen.
Yeah, that was my issue with it. So I like the setup. I like that it's not actually the Predator's home world.
It's just like a safari planet.
It's like a hunting planet.
Yeah.
So, there's predators that go to other worlds to hunt, and then there's predators that bring dangerous animals and drop them off to hunt.
It's also interesting that it's like a new breed of predator, and they compared them like dogs versus wolves.
Yes. Which is funny because like people are like, why wouldn't they all be the same in uniform? And I'm like, well, we only have that mindset because
that's all we've seen.
Well, if you think about it, like humans, there's only one type of Homo sapiens.
Sure.
Like, yeah, sure, there's difference in skin color, but for the most part, we're
we're humans.
Because all the other hominids died.
Like Neanderthals. And,
Cro-Magnon man, like we evolved, but like literally, you look at any other animal and it's like, yeah, there are multiple wolves, there are multiple different
bears
types,
and stuff
multiple
like
different bears, and like humans, it's just kind of us.
Right. And
so why wouldn't predators have multiple different species that are similar but also have the same technology?
And speaking about evolution and predators and stuff like that, you also get the original looking, what they were going to use for the first Predator movie. That design shows up here as a different alien.
Yes. Fun fact. I talked about this on a show that I helped manage called Peg Warmers. I have it here from NECA. They put this out. It's the Alpha Predator. My friend Mike from Cinemassacre got me this. It's like the special edition 100th Predator figure because NECA makes a bunch of Predators.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my God, he's wearing the unused Predator design.
It's pretty cool because the implication's like he killed it.
Yeah, and he's wearing it.
Yeah,
so I thought that was really, really cool. And you're right, we do see that design in this.
Yeah, that's an awesome little...
It's not It's not quite the same design, but it's close enough.
I just remember all the stuff of Jean-Claude Van Damme being in the outfit and everything.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they use that. So Predators, I would argue after rewatching it, not like I think it's way better than I initially thought it was.
Yes.
I don't think Predators is the greatest movie ever, but I do think it's one of the best Predator movies.
Yes, and the things I like in it is the changing of like the setting, putting it on an alien planet.
Yeah, it was a good idea.
I like that. I like that there's other aliens running around causing havoc. Like I like that they use the dogs.
The dogs in this movie look so much cooler than the other dogs in the Predator.
On the Predator dogs.
Yeah.
I like the idea of warring factions of predators. I don't like that the Predator in it is
killed.
The exact same model. I don't mind it looking the same.
Oh, you mean when he's hung up?
But it's even dressed the same as the first Predator. I'm like, all right, it didn't have to be that much of a carbon
too spot
copy.
On. Yeah.
I like the idea of bringing in these like killers from Earth.
Oh yeah, that was cool too.
Them.
Yeah.
And I like all of that, but then there's just okay, we have to. It's got learning that it has camouflage again. Like,
we have to learn. It is kind of like a soft.
It's like yes, I already know that. And it's like they're hunting for sport. But yeah, well, me as a fan, I already know that. And then the ending is very derivative. Like I'm gonna cover myself in mud to hide.
Yeah, that was where it was too much for me in the theater. Where I was like, I'm literally watching a remake of Predator now.
Before the term soft reboot became known. I said, I think I remember at the time, this movie has Superman Returns syndrome.
Okay.
Where it's a sequel, but then it just keeps doing things from the previous film.
The biggest issue was, for me, when I never liked the idea of humans teaming up with predators because they'd done that in Alien versus Predator, and I buy it more.
The
here.
movie version did it poorly. How they did it in the comics,
that's
was
cool,
good.
but I buy it more in this movie. But we had just seen it in Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
Another thing about this movie, Jurassic World got this right, where this movie got it wrong. You know how upset I was when they killed the original Predator?
That didn't bother me.
It's kind of like they're saying our newer Predator is better.
Yes.
By cutting his head off and everything. I liked the fight. Yeah. But I was like, fuck you. Like, I'm a fan of the original Predator.
I don't know. That Super Predator was pretty fucking cool looking.
He is, but they haven't brought him back.
Yeah,
and
he
like,
scared me at first when I was like, oh shit, I wasn't ready for like that.
I do like the idea of the jawbone and stuff being on the helmet.
Yeah, I like putting the skull stuff on the helmet and whatnot.
As a big Jurassic Park fan, it is pretty cool to see long grass whenever it's in like a movie. I do like the Yakuza guy fighting the Predator because we didn't see how Billy died.
Predator's a little awkward in that fight scene.
He is.
Because like the guy's doing the sword stuff, but the Predator's got this plate where he can only like do this, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel like super match.
I do think though, even though they're going back and redoing ideas and motifs from the first movie, at least we get to see stuff. Like what did happen to Billy after like
my favorite thing in the film is probably the Lawrence Fishburne character. I like the idea of this.
I don't like his introduction, but I like the character.
Yeah. No, I like the idea of this character who's gone insane just hiding from the predators, but I like that he has some of their technology. And it is cool how he put the mask on the back of a samurai helmet. It's like, man, they've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I really, really liked him. But yeah, then he just gets blown up.
Yeah, and it's kind of underwhelming how that happens. Yeah. I think this movie had a little bit of a rough spot with Topher Grace just because this was pretty fresh after Spider-Man 3. And
his little bad guy reveal is kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean it's a little creepy. No. I think Predators. Here's the highlights of the film. It has a good structured narrative from start to finish, even though it's a little derivative in places. Yeah, it still feels like a 3-act movie. I liked a lot of the kills. The kill in the inmate guy where he gets the spine rip and everything. Yes. That's great.
Okay, that's. All right, here's one of the problems with Walter Goggins. He says some stuff that you don't hear in modern movies anymore.
No, they wouldn't.
No. The one issue with this film, and it's an issue people have with Alien 3, it's kind of hard to feel bad for any of these guys because they're all awful people.
Yeah. Well, the Russian guy with the minigun, I think that they don't really go into why he's there.
Well, he might just
was just on the battlefield.
Like, there are people who might just be good soldiers, like Alice Braga's character.
The Israeli,
She might just be a good soldier. But then, Danny Trejo's talking about how
he kills people?
He puts people in, like, oil drums. And then, Marshall Ali's in this. This is early, like, one of the first things I can remember him being in.
I love his comeback line, too, where he's like, how you doing there, boss, or whatever.
Yeah, and I like how when he sees the Predator tied up, he's like, oh, yeah, we put people on display to scare people. And it's like, all right, well, I don't really feel bad when these guys get killed. And especially Walter Goggins, when he talks about what he's going to do when he goes home.
People?
Yeah, and I'm like, at 5 o'clock, raping time.
Bitch raping time.
Yeah, and I'm like, gee, I hope that guy lives.
Yeah, but it's a cool scene where they rip out his spine
that is pretty
and
cool.
shit.
But I like how he tricks them with the plate.
That's cool too.
Now, actually, in that scene, were you upset because of what the trailer promised?
Yes, I was. Where all of the little like infrared things are on.
In the trailer, and that's probably just something the teaser guys did. It was probably always meant to be the one. But yeah, Adrien Brody puts his hands up, and they have like the laser on him. But in the trailer, it's like 100 fucking lasers on it.
Yeah, it's a shame because like I get that's just a teaser trailer thing, but man, I was really looking forward to the whole tribe coming in.
They also cut out a shot of like a predator like screaming in that same scene with one of the dogs next to him. It's in the trailers, but it didn't make it into the movie.
Creature design in this movie is great.
Yes.
Those dogs are cool. I know Roger Ebert complained because he said, okay, there's no way these dogs could reproduce because they have spikes on their backs, but they're cool design.
Maybe they
it's
lay eggs.
Aliens, man.
Maybe they drop some eggs and then they fertilize the eggs like fish.
Well, like, look, the creature design's off the chain. Yeah. I like the jungle setting. I like the new stuff like the boomerangs, like that
was cool.
That device that like looks out for people.
Yeah.
I like and I wish they would do more stuff of like the other aliens within the Predator universe.
Yeah.
Because in Predator 2, where you've got that awesome Godzilla-like skull, in the thing.
We were in the theater. We were just like, are they going to put an alien in this?
I thought they would.
Just to have running
around.
They didn't.
Yeah.
At that point, they needed to separate those two. It's like, no, at that point, I'm like, I don't want to see an Alien and Predator for another fucking 20 years.
I don't blame you. I will say this about Predators. It got kind of it wasn't a big hit.
No, it was a moderate success.
But we're talking back when moderate success was like still $100 million.
Yeah.
Like it didn't do as great as a lot of people think it should have. And I think with the movie being as weird as like, when I say weird, this is an alien planet that this is not the stereotypical. We'd seen Predators in the jungle before, which they're bringing back and it's refreshing. But then we saw city, suburbs with the forest, and then Antarctic. Yes. So this movie was different. It wasn't on Earth. It had like different...
It was a jungle, but it was a space jungle.
Yeah, and it was like warring tribes of predators. So, and it's called Predators, so it's a play on Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, I like the new stuff they introduced. That's why I'm kind of annoyed that like the main plot really, and then the ending is so derivative of the first one. And it's like, well, okay. But, and I get like Predators, you can make them formulaic, but at this point, it's just like, all right, well, I kind of know all the twists and turns. Just give me new. That's why I liked Predator 2, really. There's not a lot of like
there's a lot of originality in Predator 2.
Because like Gary, what's his face?
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey comes in, he's like, here's everything you need to know about the Predator. It's like, all right, well, I already knew that, but I get now that character knows.
Well, wasn't he supposed to be Dutch originally?
Yeah. Okay. Would have made more sense.
But I like how in Predator 2, and this is why I said it's debatable about which is the best Predator sequel. If you go on Rotten Tomatoes, dude, Predator 2 is not loved. But if you talk about people like us, like we know the correct answer. And like, anyways, Predator 2 has the awesome subway, like the train sequence, which is very memorable.
Yes.
The imagery of the Predator on top of the thing with the lightning coming down.
That was cool.
The slaughterhouse, the disc. The shit happens.
Shit happens.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cool
there's actually a good scene in Predators when they make Danny Trejo talk. And he's like, help me.
Oh, yeah, that's a great scene.
Yeah.
Predators has a lot of other stuff that it's not as iconic, but like that's probably because Predator 2 came out like at the end of 1990. Yeah. So a lot of people were probably catching it on video in 91, 92 or on cable. Yeah. And like it was still at the time, we're talking early 90s, like before Nirvana. Like still where everyone's still like Motley Crue, bars, and action movies with Arnold. Like, so everybody had this like circle of things that they would love. And it's in the same vein as like the Lethal Weapons, the Die Hard.
This unfortunately came out at a weird time. It was after we had already been burnt out on 2 bad Predator movies.
And also where they had demasculinated what like an action hero is.
Yeah, although Adrien Brody's in great shape.
He does do a good job in this
bulky
movie. But like the other action heroes to put him up against are people that were like not like Arnold.
Well, I think that goes all the way back to Bruce Willis, where it's like, oh, you don't need to be super fucking, which works for some characters.
But Predator is cut from the cloth of like, dude, the whole first Predator, Carl Weathers.
Well, remember, like that's the fun contrast of Predators, that they are these super buff guys,
but they're getting picked off.
It's
a slasher movie for like the action stars, like, but because the Predator's that much of a fucking tank.
Yes,
but dude, the shot in the original Predator where he grabs him by the throat, and you see how much height that Predator has on Arnold. You're like, oh shit.
What's his face? I think Derek Mears played the Jungle Hunter Predator in this, and he played Jason
in the remake to Friday the 13th.
Yes, he's been in a lot of stuff, and of course we remember him as the gangster that gets his face punched in Twin Peaks season 3. I think that's his most important role. But yeah, I like Derek Mears, his acting and whatnot. He's a cool, good big stunt man.
Absolutely, and it's cool that this movie actually built upon lore and not an offensive way, which a lot of these science fiction things, when they go back and build more, it's stupid.
Well, Predator is not like a series where you have to like ignore previous entries.
No, because they're standalone.
You could be like, well, that's just what those Predators did.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Is a different Predator.
Yeah. It's also cool that this movie is kind of like, I truly think you've got the original Predator, right? Predators and Predator 2, I think are fine chapters in the Predator anthology. The Predator is a mess.
Yeah. I remember telling you, like, I got ripped apart when I was still in Cinemassacre. We reviewed The Predator. Yeah. And I think we both agree, like, the first, like, 30, 40 minutes of that movie was fun. It was nice to see guys in movies being dicks to each other.
Just like the first fucking Predator movie.
And not like I like the Marvel movies and stuff. And
I love how when they're taking bets on the guy that's, like, gonna totally get killed, like the hostage, and they're like, abso-fucking-lutely.
But we get witty banner and stuff in, like, the superhero movies and stuff, and people are used to that. And that's fine. I enjoy that. But it was nice to just see men just shitting on each other and being absolutely rude and mean, because that just reminds me of my friends.
It reminds you of real life.
Yes, and I think the early on in that movie put me in such a good mood that I was apologetic for a lot of other stuff. And I liked what I liked about The Predator is because this one was so safe.
It was very different.
I appreciated that one just kind of going for it. Upon rewatching it, and I'm like, okay, it's not good.
Yeah.
And like once that initial Predator dies and it's the big CGI
then it goes
Predator,
downhill pretty quickly.
It would have been cool to see the emissary Predators and see what that was, but you could see the rewrites are very obvious. That deleted scene with the Olivia Munn that they had to chop out of the movie last minute. Oh
yeah, and then on top of that there was either Arnold, Newt, or Ripley was supposed to be.
That was weird.
At the end of the movie.
None of those endings are good, and the one they settled on was also dumb with the robot suit.
Iron Man.
Although
Predator.
I didn't mind when I saw the robot suit, that reminds me of like a Kenner toy from the early 90s.
The Predator reminds me of like Small Soldiers.
Yeah.
It's a very 1998 movie.
Yeah.
Like it's just bizarre. And like on top of that, Predators, I think, works as like a standalone sequel.
Yeah.
The Predator tried to reinvent a little too much, and because of the rewrites, it didn't work. And it was doing the same thing Rampage kind of did, where they're trying to like take ideas from Jurassic World and incorporate like the Predator that is like a advanced hybrid.
Yes.
Like I wonder where they got that idea from.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like, come on, man. But yeah,
the plot of The Predator, this is the simplest way I can say it. It is a predator that is trying to get autism. That is not an exaggeration.
No.
That's not even a joke.
They want to weaponize autism.
It is literally the predators want autism from a little boy.
Also, I don't like in the lore in that they say they take other things and like incorporate that into their DNA.
But again, that might just be like what those predators do.
That's still stupid.
It's still stupid. I don't like it either.
I will say this.
One thing I liked in that is their version of Lightspeed is to shoot holes in space because that's how aggressive of a race they are.
Sure.
Like I kind of like that.
I do like in Alien versus Predator Requiem when you see the Predator's planet.
Briefly, yeah. But it's like a hot lava
He's a
world.
cool Predator, man.
Wolf,
Yeah.
Stuck in a terrible movie, but yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think that when you talk about Predator, for me, you got the original movie, which is great, and then you've got Predator 2 and Predators.
Yes.
That's what I think of that as like a Predator trilogy. And I think I totally understand why people don't like Predator 2. Because of the silliness at the beginning with Danny Glover, like literally driving his car into like a gang war and like leaning out of the window and everything. It has not been a nice day. And I can remember back when I delivered pizza and there would be some guy like at the desk of a hotel I was going to that like you could tell used to like get Diana ball and test. And I'd see Predator 2 on. They're like, oh, you watching this? He's like, yeah, part 2, man. Like those are the people that you know, care about this shit.
Predator 2, the asshole reporter in that movie was Morton Downey Jr., who kicked my good friend Lloyd Kaufman off his show in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Predators, again, it's a little too safe, but it is a fine film. The one big problem. So like you said, this is a soft reboot. You can introduce someone to this who never saw Predator.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they'll get it. The Long Tall Sally song at the end.
At the end is out of place.
That is for like the fan like me, but even I'm like, that doesn't fit in this
That
movie.
used to be my ringtone. Long Tall Sally. Yeah.
And you know what? I think Joel Silver, who produced these movies, is a big fan of that song. You know what other movie Long Tall Sally is played in? Well, Roadhouse, produced by Joel Silver.
Sure.
What's her face actually sings it when Dalton actually makes the double deuce an actually nice bar and they get rid of the cage. So it's nice that Joel Silver, when you think of like amazing films like Predators, Roadhouse. Obviously, Roadhouse is better. But yeah, so it was nice to have those. That's like a trilogy. The Roadhouse,
Predator, Roadhouse, and Predators. Wow. Okay.
You can never do a Roadhouse Predator crossover. Dalton will just win.
Dalton versus Predator. Oh shit. You know, it's funny though because I think Predators, unironically, is Predators and Predator 2 are the sequels to Predator. Yes. I think Predator 2 has a lot of really cool shit. The greatest kill ever in any Predator movie, in my opinion, is King Willie. Like, oh yeah, fucking cool. Yeah, and you see the, you know, he's like cutting away the skin from the dun 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 dun.
I would say I'm interested to see Prey.
I'm interested to see what their idea. All these movies, I even had a commenter, and he's so right. Every Predator movie, they say, "Oh, we're going to be the best movie since the original."
No, yeah. Well, they have to. No one's gonna come out and be like, "Hey, I'm making Predator 5, Clayton.
Okay.
It's gonna be okay. You might like it."
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very enthusiastic.
No, you gotta be like, "It's gonna be the best Predator ever."
Yeah.
You're gonna go home and burn your copy of Predator. But what Prey is doing is what they probably should have done from the beginning.
From Predator, yeah.
Where it's just like, hey, how will this person in this time period deal with the Predator?
I've thought about them doing that. But I didn't understand the ending of Predator 2 for a while.
Oh, yeah, they had been doing this for a while. And they made a comic about how he got that gun.
But I didn't know that. The first time I saw that movie incomplete, I was like, is that like Napoleon's gun or something? Like, what is the interest in that? But like, it would be a cool idea to go to different time periods like what they're doing in Prey. Yeah. But I also think the clear answer, and I told you this yesterday, man, Predator needs a sequel with Arnold, and I don't know if it would work today, but they might as well.
And voiced in the video game.
Didn't they do like a Concrete Jungle? Not the video game, but there's like a novel.
There's like a comic or something.
It's
with
like Dutch's brother.
Yeah. Well, in the AVP game, Dutch comes back as a cyborg. Speaking of comics, so this never got followed up on. But there was a sequel comic. They still don't get off Earth, but I think they fight a four-armed predator in that one.
Oh, like Goro?
Like, yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that.
That actually might be. I don't know if it's just some predators have four arms or if that's just like the earliest of genetic modifying or whatever. But so there was some kind of continuation of this, but it didn't quite franchise the way they wanted it to.
No. And I think they really wanted the Predator to be that franchise starty, which it did not work. I think it is debatable. I know a lot of people will immediately say Predator 2 is the better movie just because they've grown up with it and because Predator 2 definitely gets included in that circle of like these 80s/90s movies that you can't touch. They're like holy. Yeah. Like Predator. Yeah. Or like Aliens or like, stuff like that. But I think Predators is the only like even with like the Prometheus and Alien Covenant stuff, like Predators fits right in. Yeah. Like if you look back at like Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genesis, Terminator Dark, no, Predators does fit in with Predator 1 and 2.
Terminator Salvation is highly mediocre.
I've got to check that back out. I only saw
the problem with that is a lot of people don't like 3, and that is a continuation of 3. So I think that's why people don't really like.
I've never hated 3.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Predators.
I would argue it's an underrated movie because it's competent. It's debatable on whether or not it's better than Predator 2. Not just from like me saying it. There are fans that are like, Predators wasn't like total trash.
No.
So is it the best sequel to Predator?
I'm still going Predator 2. You get the spear, the disc, you get an expansion of the lore. And that's actually interesting.
The city,
in the city is cool. I'm going Predator 2 all the way, but followed closely by this.
By that. Yeah. I don't know if it's right there, man. Like I agree with everything you just said though. Yes. But that's Predators. What do you think about it? And do you think that Predator 2 is better? And of course Predator the original is the best. But this is my friend Tony. You can find him at Hack the Movies. Yes. He's already done the original Predator, which is his favorite Arnold movie.
I have done the Predator, my favorite Arnold movie.
No, just Predator, not the Predator.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've done Predator.
Yeah.
Predator. I've done that on my channel, and then on Movie Dumpster. Okay. Good friends of ours. I did Predator 2, the second one.
Right.
And now I've done Predators.
Right.
And I've already done the Predator.
And now we just gotta wait.
On Cinemassacre.
Yeah.
I think I cover them all.
Yeah, you don't got to talk about the.
I have, and I've done Alien vs Predator. I haven't done Alien vs Predator Requiem.
I think that would be prime, like, target for Cack the Movies. Yeah, because that movie's so crazy.
It's just I'm gonna have to
watch it
up
again.
My screen.
yeah, sure.
But yes, check me out on Hack the Movies and check out Movie Dumpster for those other reviews.
Yep, that's Predator. What do you think? That's Predator 3. What do you?
Predators.
Yeah, greatest one ever sequel? No, maybe. What do you think? Comments down below.
Oh, one last thing. K and B did great effects. Boom.
Absolutely.